Hello everyone and welcome back to Appalachian Bonsai. This is an American hornbeam, Carpinus caroliniana. It's a beautiful specimen that I collected several years ago, and I've done a thread graft on it. This video is to highlight the failures and successes of that process, so I hope that you enjoy this video. This is an American hornbeam, Carpinus caroliniana. This has been slip potted into this large pot this year, this spring. I did not have time to do a proper repot on it, and that's okay. So, with that said, I've got a lot of roots in this pot, which means whenever I do the work on this tree today, it's going to help this tree recover from the wounds I'm going to induce, and therefore recover much more quickly than if it had been repotted this year. This tree has a lot of nice foliage on it. I'm going to defoliate this tree. What this is going to do is allow me to see the branch structure that is new with this current flush of growth. It's going to allow me to prune back the areas I don't want, and it's also going to make for finer ramification. One other thing I'm going to do with this tree while we're looking at it bare is I'm going to thread graft this. What I mean by that is I have an area right here on this side of the tree that I want to have a new branch, but a new branch has not been produced. So I'm going to create a thread graft by taking this branch, which was produced last year and was allowed to grow, and I'm going to drill a hole on this backside and then thread this branch, this whip, if you will, like a whip. I'm going to thread this through the hole, and that will become a new branch in about 2 years. So let's get started by defoliating this tree, looking at the structure, making corrections, and then we'll get on with the grafting. Okay, so I have this tree defoliated. Some of the things you might see is the legginess of this structure. All right, there's a lot of long branches. There's some ramification in branches like these over here, but there's some other ones that are really, really long. I need to prune those back. But what I'm going to address at this moment is going to be the thread graft. There is a lot of distance between the nabari, which is the base of the trunk, and what you might consider this first branch way up here. It does extend down a little bit, but there's a whole lot of space right in here. The way that this tree has naturally grown, it's been a clip and grow method. The way that this thing is naturally grown means that I would like to have some of the movement, which is coming this direction, to continue this direction and down the trunk. So I would like for this whip right here to come through and have another branch in this area right in here. Depending on which direction you look at it, it might be a little bit behind, it might be a little bit in front. The same thing on this side, it might come from this area or it might come from back of this area. What I'm also considering is the branches up here in the top. So I have a branch right here, I've got a branch here. The way that it looks from this vantage, the branch is moving toward you, to the viewer. It's kind of moving this direction. So maybe I have something that kind of continues back off in this direction. So if I look at it from here, there's a lot of space that's happening. And I think that space could be filled with a nice branch. So I would like for the branch to come from this direction outward. I've looked at the placement of these branches, I've looked at the relation of the tree, and I'm thinking I'm going to have this right in this area there. So what I've done is I've taken a marker and I've made a little mark right here, which is where I'd like to start my thread graft. I'm going to drill a hole starting from this end. This is the exit. This is where the branch will come back around and exit out and grow out. I want this to be the cleanest point, whereas if I drill, when I come through with the drill point on the backside, it's going to be really rugged and coarse. And that's not going to look as pretty with the final branch. So I'm going to start here, I'm going to drill through, and then I will feed this whip through that other side. All I'm doing here is just cleaning up the outer hole. Oh. Well, accidents happen. Let's see if we can clean this up a little bit. So that's nice and secure on its own. I don't need to add any wire to that. There's a little bit of damage on the back side just where it's squishing up. I'm going to add some wood glue on this side in order to help seal the wound. And all this is doing is preventing the tree from drying out. So as you might be able to tell, the graft did not take place. We saw a lot of the reasons why that's possibly the case. You know, I damaged the tip. I scratched it while trying to readjust after breaking the tip, and it just didn't graft. What also ended up happening though, thankfully, is that I have a new shoot right here. This will end up being grafted next year, and that's good. I have to wait until next year to do that because the timing is not right. It's now August. It's time for this guy to go dormant here in the next couple of weeks, and so I don't need to be doing any more to stress this tree out and try to create any type of new growth, because right now the roots are what's needed the most. Huh, that just broke right off. All right, so it's been a year since that nice little accident. I want to call it a happy little accident, but it is a beautiful tree. I have decided to go ahead and try this again. You may see that we have the little scar here from before. It's still got part of the branch from last year. I'm going to snip this a little bit more flush and then drill through again. You can also see, likely, let me raise this up a little bit. Oh, it's already raised. I have on this side right here wrapped this whip with some rubber from an inner tube, a tire inner tube. Put a little wire on this end and on this end, protecting the branch to keep it from snapping whenever I'm bending this. I'm going to add a little bit more wire just to hold it in place when I do finally get this opened up, and then I'll slip it through. See if we don't break it this time. There we go. Ah, well, it came through. That's positive. All you people who have done this before are probably like shaking your head a bunch of times. With push-pull action, that works a lot better. We're getting close. Okay, now that we have this thing wired up and got it glued, we're just going to let it grow. I'm not going to be pruning on this. I want this thing to get as long as it wants to get. But what I expect to see over the next 2 to 3 years is that this thickens up quite a bit and will eventually get larger than this side. If I see that this side is smaller than this, then I know that it's grafted and that it's getting nutrition from this vein as well as getting nutrition from here. Once it's getting nutrition from here also and it's grafted, I can cut this off and it will be sustained by the rest of the tree. So really quickly, I did add just a little piece of wire on here to bend it down because it was kind of sticking straight up, and that was because of the angle of us having to approach this thing. I didn't want to go super crazy. But bending it down this way so that when it does grow, it'll be a little bit easier to train it downward as opposed to having something sticking up and then bending it down much the way that this was in the beginning. I think that's going to be good. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this thing up and call it a spring with this one. So as you can tell, this tree has been doing really well this growing season. It is now August, nearly September 2021. We threaded this in the springtime, and it's just grown really well. I defoliated this part of the tree back in June. There's a lot of roots down in this, so it was very healthy and growing vigorously. So I pruned this, which allowed this part of the tree to continue growing unimpeded. It gave it a little bit of an extra chance. And in fact, there's a little bit of swelling happening right here at the exit. That's good. This tree still probably has another year, maybe 2 years of growing in order for it to fully graft with this side of the tree. Once that's happened, as mentioned before, we can cut this off and it will be sustained by this side of the tree. I'm really pleased. I hope this gives you an opportunity to see that mistakes are made by everybody. So don't be afraid if you've made a mistake that you're a failure. You're not. If you want to try, you can try again. Sometimes it's easier than others. So I hope you like this video. I'm thankful that you're still with me. Like and subscribe because there is more to come. Thanks for watching.